In this video, we will go through the spreadsheet task from the November 2024 Paper 3 CIE exam. First, we are going to place our name, center number, and candidate number on the left in the header. Go to the View tab, select Page Layout, and then type in your candidate details. Next, we will place the text Created on, followed by a space, then the automated date on the right in the header. To add the automated date, go to the Header and Footer tab and select Current Date. This will add a code, and when you click outside, it will be converted into today's date. To save this file as a spreadsheet, click on Save As and make sure you change the format to Excel Workbook. If you save it as a CSV, all the formulas and formatting will be lost, so be careful. We have to format all data in rows 9 to 38 to be center-aligned. For this, let's go back to the normal view. You can select several rows at the same time using the Shift key, and in the Home tab, you will find the alignment options. Next, we will format rows 1 to 8 of the spreadsheet so that it looks like in the screenshot. Let's start with the title that requires cells from A1 to F1 to be merged. We must also increase the size of the text and adjust the row height and column widths. Some text requires to be formatted in bold. We must also make sure the alignment of each cell matches exactly with the screenshot. When you need text to be displayed in several lines, you must select the option to wrap text that is represented by an icon with the letters ABC next to the alignment options. Keep resizing the columns to make the text appear in different lines as shown. To add currency symbols, right-click and select Format Cells. Find the appropriate symbol, in this case dollars, and adjust the decimal places if needed. In this case, we need to increase the decimal places to 4. Read carefully through all the instructions to make sure you have formatted the spreadsheet correctly. Let's check the correct cells have been merged. It is easy to skip points if we don't read the information properly. And finally, make sure the text in row 1 is in a 24-point font. Once we check this, we are ready to go to the next step. We need to enter a formula to calculate the number of hits for a specific web page. We can easily achieve this with the sum function. Type in equals sum, then open brackets and select the values you want to add. By adding the number of hits for each period, we will obtain the value we are looking for. Now for the next step, we can repeat the same process as before, but this time using the average function instead of sum. In this task, we need to create a formula in cell D9 that will display text values, high, medium, or low, based on comparing traffic data against threshold values. Start with the outer if function. The first condition we want to check is whether C9 is greater than the highest threshold in E4. If the condition is true, we want to return the value high, which is in D4. Add the nested if for the medium threshold. If C9 is not greater than E4, we need to check if it's greater than E5. Notice that we're using absolute cell references. The dollar signs lock the column and row references. This allows us to copy the formula to other cells without the references changing. Finally, if C9 is not greater than E5 either, we display low. Next, we will create formula for cell E9 that looks up the rate for the traffic level and multiplies it by the total number of hits. First, let's use the XLOOKUP function, which has three main parts. The lookup value is D9, the traffic level we want to look up. The lookup array D4 to D6, the range containing high, medium, and low, and the return array F4 to F6, the range containing the corresponding rates. Now we need to multiply the rate we obtained with the XLOOKUP function by the total number of hits in cell B9. Notice that we're using again absolute cell references with $signs to make the formula replicable. We can now select cells B9 to E9 and double-click on the square you see on the bottom right. This will replicate the formulas for all the rows. To format cells E9 to E38 as currency in dollars to 2 decimal places, we need to repeat the process we did in step 2. Select the cells, right-click and select Format Cells. Then click on Currency and choose the symbol and decimal places. In the next step, we need to create a formula in cell B4 that will count how many web pages have high traffic, and then replicate this formula for medium and low traffic levels as well. We'll use the COUNTIF function, which counts cells from the range D9 to D38 that have the value high, which we can find in cell D4. The range D9 to D38 must be fixed when we copy the formula. That's why we put the $signs. However, we use a relative reference for D4, so it will change when copied, so we can count the websites for medium and low traffic. To print the formulas, we have to display them by selecting the option Show Formulas in the Formulas tab on the top menu. Then make sure you resize the columns so all the contents of the cells are fully visible. Once this is done, make a selection of the cells you want to print, in this case A1 to F38, and go to Print on the main menu or with Ctrl P. Now in the settings, we select Print Selection, and then we go to Page Setup to select the option to display row and column headings, which is inside the Sheet tab. Check the preview to see everything is correct and you are ready to print. The next question is asking to apply conditional formatting to create a color-coded system based on traffic levels. We need to undo the Display Formulas option to show the values again. Now, we need to select cells D9 to D38. With the range selected, go to the Home tab and look for the Conditional Formatting button. New rule. Format only cells that contain. Select Specific Text and Containing. In the Value field, type High. Click the Format button. Select a green color that will make the text clearly visible. And now repeat this process to add a rule that will create an orange background if the cell contains medium. And finally, another rule to set a red background if the cell contains low. Now, you need to take a screenshot showing both your conditional formatting rules and the formatted cells. Click Conditional Formatting again, then Manage Rules. Save this screenshot and place it in your evidence document as required. For the last step, we have to produce a printout showing the values. We are required to change the font color of cells F8 to AC38 to white, so that the contents of these cells are not visible. Let's select only columns A to F inclusive. In the settings, we must indicate the printout fits on a single page. The printout is in portrait orientation already. The row and column headings are not displayed. so this option must be disabled. The contents of all cells in columns A to F, except those cells where the font color is white, are fully visible, so we are ready to print. This is the end of the spreadsheet task. Thanks for watching.